Module 16, the reproductive systems. Anatomy of the male reproductive system. Because the male and female reproductive systems are different from one another, I will be going over the anatomy and physiology of these systems separately. Let's first look at the male reproductive system. Refer to the diagram in your book as well as this image. The testes are the major functional organs within this system. They behave as exocrine glands by developing and secreting sperm, and they behave as endocrine glands by making and secreting sex hormones. The primary sex hormone in males is testosterone, which is a steroid. During development, the testes are formed in the abdomen of the body, behind the parietal peritoneum and below the kidneys. They form within 2 months after conception, and then, at about the 8th month of development, begin to descend lower in the abdomen until they're outside it within a sac called the scrotum. The movement of the testes is directed by the presence of testosterone. This is a very important process. You see, one of the primary functions of the male reproductive system is to produce sperm, but the process of forming sperm, or spermatogenesis, cannot occur at the normal body temperature of 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Spermatogenesis is the process by which sperm forms in the testes. This process requires a slightly lower temperature of 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and the area within the scrotum provides that perfect temperature. Additionally, the scrotum has lots of sweat glands to help maintain that temperature. It's therefore a bit cooler than the normal body temperature, and it is able to control the temperature there. There are specific muscles called cremaster muscles, which are extensions of the abdominal muscles of the body. They connect to the scrotum on each side. If the temperature becomes too cold, the cremaster muscles will contract, pulling the testes closer to the body for warmth. If the temperature becomes too warm, then those muscles will relax, moving the testes further away from the body. It's important for the testes to descend out of the body. If only one descends, then the male will still be fertile, because that testis can still produce sperm. But if they both do not descend, then that will result in infertility, because the temperature in both testes will be too warm for spermatogenesis. However, the testes can still produce and secrete testosterone because that process is not as temperature sensitive. A testis is surrounded by a thick layer of connective tissue, which is called the tunica albuginea. Inside, there are hundreds of lobules filled with coiled tubes, which are called seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules empty into the reedy testis. The reedy testis then empties into the epididymis, which is another coiled tube. Both the seminiferous tubules and the epididymis are very long. The total length of the seminiferous tubules is about a half mile, and the epididymis is about 20 feet in length. The epididymis connects to the testis by efferent ductils. When sperm are produced, they move from the testis to the epididymis, or the epididymides, which is plural, and then remain there for about 10 days in order to mature. At this point, mature sperm then move to the vas deferens, or the ductus deferens. Vastus deferentia, which is the plural of the term, are made up of smooth muscle lined by ciliated mucosa. When it's time for them to leave the body, the sperm move through the vastus deferentia, which carry them around the bladder to the ejaculatory ducts. The ejaculatory ducts are connected to the seminal vesicles. The ducts carry sperm into the urethra so it can leave the man and enter the woman for fertilization. Now, the urethra is the tube for urine removal, leading from the urinary bladder to the outside of the body. In the male, this tube is also used for the passage of semen out of the body. Semen is the mixture of secretions from the testes and other male reproductive glands that is released during sexual intercourse. To control the movement of urine or semen, there's an internal urethral sphincter muscle located here. During sexual intercourse, the sphincter muscle automatically contracts so that urine is not released. The seminal vesicles are exocrine glands that are connected to the ejaculatory ducts. They secrete a slightly alkaline fluid that is high in fructose, and this fluid makes up about 60% of the semen. It mixes with the mature sperm, providing fructose as fuel for those cells, as well as a liquid medium in which the flagellated sperm swim. Sperm are the only flagellated cells in humans. They use the flagella for forward movement in fluid. There's another exocrine gland called the prostate gland, which surrounds the urethra at the base of the urinary bladder. This gland also produces a fluid that mixes with the sperm. Fluid from the prostate gland makes up about 30% of the fluid in the semen. This slightly alkaline fluid serves two purposes. First, it provides more swimming medium for the sperm, and second, it helps to reduce the acidic environment of the vagina in the woman, a canal that the sperm must swim through on the way to the ovum. Sperm cannot survive well in an acidic environment, so the material that the prostate gland secretes helps to provide a more neutral environment. The prostate gland sometimes can form problematic tumors. One is benign prostate hypertrophy. This is not a cancerous tumor, but does cause the prostate gland to swell, pushing up against the urethra and hampering urine flow out of the body. If the benign tumor grows large enough, it can also compress the bladder and cause more frequent urination. This is not a severe condition, but causes inconvenience or a little discomfort. However, prostate cancer is another problem that can occur in this gland. It is a serious condition, and if left untreated can result in death. This condition is the second most common type of cancer in men in the United States, yet it is easy to detect and catch early on. You see, the prostate gland is located just anterior to the rectum. If there is any glandular swelling, it can be identified during a rectal exam. This is why these exams are recommended for men as they get older. In addition to the prostate gland and seminal vesicles, there are also two bulbourethral glands which secrete mucus early during sexual excitation. The mucus is basic to neutralize any acid in the urethra, and its consistency provides lubrication in the urethra so that the semen can easily move through it. The urethra passes through the penis, which is surrounded by skin that's loosely connected by connective tissue. The end is called the glans penis, and it has firmly attached skin. It also has a loose bit of skin called the foreskin, or prepuce. In the book of Genesis in the Bible, the Israelites were instructed to remove the foreskins of the male children. This process is called circumcision, and it's still a common practice today in Western culture. There are 3 erectile tissues surrounding the urethra. These are highly vascular areas that are surrounded by elastic connective tissue. This tissue can fill up with blood, causing the penis to enlarge and become firm. This is called erection. Erection is the enlarged, firm state of the penis that results as the erectile tissues fill with blood. The blood has to remain in those tissues, and it occurs as a result of parasympathetic activity. The vascular tissue there experiences vasodilation, so that more blood flows to the erectile tissues. Additionally, the veins leading those tissues are constricted so that blood remains there. This is an unusual situation in the body where arterioles are innervated by parasympathetic neurons. Erection is necessary for coitus. Coitus is sexual intercourse in the human, the process in which the erect penis enters the vagina. Coitus allows the sperm to be transferred from the man's body to the woman's body. The next step in the male reproductive process is emission. Emission is the movement of the male reproductive secretions toward the urethra. This process is controlled by the sympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system. So all the fluid secretions from the seminal vesicles, the prostate gland, and the bulbourethral glands help the sperm move as it travels to the egg. Can you see how both the parasympathetic and the sympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system play a part in reproductive control here? The last stage of the male reproductive process is called ejaculation. Ejaculation is the movement of semen out of the urethra. It occurs as the penis moves within the vagina and stimulates the parasympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system, as well as the somatic motor system. Those systems cause the skeletal muscles of the pelvic floor to contract, causing semen to move out of the ejaculatory ducts. The sperm move into the woman and travel to the uterine tubes for possible fertilization. Once this occurs, there's a period of resolution where the blood moves out of the erectile tissue and the penis returns to original size.